G'day guys, and today Shorty and I are going to do our tips for round 20 of the season, and I think we've got about 4 weeks to go until the week off and then the finals, mate. Very exciting times, and yeah, not a very exciting weekend last weekend, but hopefully this weekend delivers a bit better.
We can only hope, mate.
Here's to hoping. Speaking of hope, Richmond play Collingwood on Friday night. The Tigers hosting them at the MCG. The Tigers are an absolute rebel at the moment. They've played some great teams, but lack spirit and effort. Collingwood did a nice number on the Eagles at the G as well.
Yeah, it's not exactly a blockbuster, but it could be close. You just never know. I mean, it was last time they met, but I think you got to go the Pies relatively comfortably. I'll tip them by 23 points, but yeah, it's the Pies have played some good footy of late, but they're not a bankable side as yet, and yeah, Richmond it's almost because of how bad Richmond are. Really, they're an absolute rabble at the moment, and still no Deledio, and we know how important he is, and they probably can't wait for next year.
Yes, I think it was Trav King. He said trade Dustin Martin. Can you believe that?
What the hell? That is probably the stupidest thing I've ever heard.
Yeah, I was having a look. I think it was on the record or one of those things where they just the burning question, which should the Tigers trade? And Nick Bowen went, I think Trent Cotchin. So some big names, mate. Your captain, your best player that you've got. So intriguing. But on a bit of a side note, I'm going to go the Pies, mate. And I'm very surprised you didn't tip the Tigers to respond, but I'm going the Pies here I'll go 37 points. They're a bit of a better and classier outfit at the moment. When they play their pressure game, they can beat anyone, I believe, but they just haven't shown it consistently, but they should be okay to get over Richmond, I think. I mean, if they had a chance to respond, it was last week, and they didn't. So, that's where they're at the moment. So I'll go the Pies. Sydney and Port Adelaide at the SCG. Very tough to beat the Swans up there. Unless you're Hawthorn, you're nearly no chance. The Swannies, what did they do last week, mate? I think they beat the Doggers by 90 points. Biggest losing margin ever for Roscoe. Ross the boss. And Paz 350th. And Port Adelaide, I think they did a big number on the Lions as well at the Gabba.
Yeah, I sure did. Yeah, coming off big wins for both of them, but yeah, I couldn't give Port too much chance. As you say, it's very hard to beat Sydney up there, and the Swans are starting to look like quite a pretty good outfit. It's coming together at the right time for them. A few key players finding some good form, and I think I'll be tipping them relatively comfortably. I'll tip the Swans by 39 points.
Nice, Bart. I'm going to go the Swans by 48 points. They're just a much better outfit. They're playing at home, very tough to beat there, as I alluded to. And Port Adelaide, they're good, but they're pretty inconsistent as well. And what I know what Sydney will bring each week. I don't know what Port Adelaide will bring in each week. So it's a pretty simple equation for me. And the Swans just have to win. So Sydney for mine.
Yeah.
Melbourne and Hawthorn at the MCG. So the D's won a very ugly game. It was documented last week against the Suns, with Jack Watts starring. And the Hawks did what they had to do against the Blues. Last time, I think it was the Hawks by about 8 points. So it was very close last time, mate.
Yeah, absolutely. And if the D's bring their sort of quality footy to the G, which they are capable of doing at the MCG, then it could be another close one. But I couldn't see them beating Hawthorn. The Hawks are coming to the end of the year where they really look to hone in on their best footy, and they haven't been super convincing. They're a side that's on top of the ladder and quite a bit clear, but I still feel like they haven't been ridiculously convincing. But yeah, they'll get a win here. I'll tip them by 29 points to sort of comfortably get there in the end, but I wouldn't be surprised to see the D's go with them for at least a quarter, maybe a half, really take it up to them, certainly for a half, I reckon. But I couldn't see them beating the Hawks.
Bloody oath. I wish they would. It'd make life interesting. But yeah, I'm going to go the Hawks, mate, by 25 points. I think it'll be somewhat close because when Melbourne bring their pressure game, they can really sort of strangle the opposition, and they really can sort of get on top when they get their running game and pressure game happening. It was a wet game last time, which may have helped them probably, just with the way they play. But Yeah, I hope the D's pretty competitive, but very hard to tip against the Hawks at home. Anywhere really. But we'll move on to the next game. Gold Coast and GWS at Metricon. So the Gold Coast just lost to the D's last week, and the Giants absolutely demolished the Tigers up in Canberra. It'll be a tough ask for the Coasters.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the Giants are looking pretty formidable. I mean, you talk about sides bringing their pressure game, and they're very hard to beat. Well, when you allow the Giants to get out in the open and spread and run and carry, and they're dynamic out there in the space and do it as well as anyone. So I think the Suns, while they've shown some better signs of late, and they've had a shocking run with injury, I still couldn't see them being too much of a concern for the Giants. So yeah, I'll pick the Greater Western Sydney by 44 points, mate.
So I'm going to go the Giants by 40 points. I think they should have them done pretty comfortably. It's a Metricon, which helps Gold Coast a little bit, but injury ravage, as we know. The Giants are a really exciting side, as you alluded to. They're a classy outfit and work so hard, and once they get that ball movement from half back, they're a very hard team to stop. So I'm going to go the Giants pretty comfortably.
Yeah, nice.
We've got a tough game here, mate. Saturday night, the Dogs up against North Melbourne at Etihad Stadium. Dogs home ground. They very gallant against the Cats. I think they went down by, must have been 25 points. So they were very good considering what they had out and injuries during the game. And North Melbourne won for Boomer for 27th game, and I have no idea to tip.
Yeah, it's really tough, isn't it? Probably the two sides that have been pulled by injury the most as far as being in that top 8, you would have to think.
Yeah.
It is a tough one. Obviously, I had a quick look at the games beforehand and didn't, spend a great deal of time thinking about who would win rather than looking at the team sheets. But look, mate, I'm going to go with North Melbourne here. And I kind of like the Dogs. Like, I'm a fan of the Doggies. I really am. But I just think, even though Waite is out and he's a massive key to North Melbourne's chances, I just feel that the Dogs have really been smashed and really been hit hard in that midfield. I'm not sure if McRae is back yet, but nonetheless, Wallace and Libba are out. And Stringer just seems to be not quite at his very best at the moment without Redpath, and Boyd was better without being a match winner yet. So I just think North, it's a battle of two sides who are really struggling to find their best form after good starts to the year. But I'll go North Melbourne by 5 points, but it is a real 50-50 game.
Yeah, you nearly called me over to the North Melbourne. I think I might go over them, mate. I was thinking the Dogs, but then I thought, well, Libba's out, and they caved him once he went off the ground. It was amazing. Listening to watching the actual game on Channel 7 Smart Replay. Look, I mean, what's that?
Just give them a plug.
Yeah, get on to those guys. So North, they have Wade out, which will hurt them a bit, but I think it's more so what the Dogs have out, and they've been very brave. And I think after being brave, when you've really been hit hard, there's almost a point in time where you don't lose your mojo, but you almost lose just the ability to be competitive because you've been emotional for a period of time and playing on, just pure emotion, I guess. So very tough one. I'd have to go with North by 12 points, but it could go either way. The Dogs have done well all year, but McRae really hurts as well on the outside, Libba on the inside. So, along with many others, so it'll be very tough. Flip a coin. Moving on to the next game, we got Adelaide and the Brisbane Lions at Adelaide Oval. This will be a tough one to pick. So we got the Crows, who got the job done last week. I'm just trying to think who they got the job done against.
Like the Bombers.
Oh, yep, they had the Bombers. Yeah, it was around the 80-point mark, and the Lions lost by about that much. So, it was a very tough day, very easy day for Adelaide, and not much easier at Adelaide Oval.
Yeah, no, it could get ugly this one, mate, just as it did last week for the Bombers. Lions are just trying guys, trying different positions, trying the youngsters, and you got the Crows who are really honing in on their best form. And I think they've probably rested a couple. I know Jacobs is out. I think McGovern's managed, and maybe one other. But nonetheless, I think this could get pretty brutal. I'm going to tip the Crows by 92 points, and it could be more than that because I think we'll know in the first 20 or 30 minutes if the Lions aren't competitive early, then generally just the legs just fall off and it all goes apart, and it can really get ugly as it did. What they conceded 48 scoring shots or something last week. I mean, that's brutal. So
it's a lot.
The Crows comfortably.
I'm going to go the Crows by 105 points, mate. I reckon they might be able to break their 3 digits this week. I guess they do have Thompson's out, McGovern's out, and I think Sauce is out. So that, maybe 105 is a bit generous, but nevertheless, I'll go with that anyway. Adelaide at home, Brisbane have been terrible. Adelaide, one of the best teams in the competition, so you just wonder. I don't know where the percentage at. Just wonder whether this game can set them up for a top 2 spot, because as we've seen recently, mate, it's not really a matter of who the teams are playing. It's more or less the potential of what they can win by, and where their percentage is at right now as to what will happen come top 2, because you don't want to finish third.
No, percentage is massive, and this is a real opportunity for them.
Definitely, yep. So the Crows pretty easily, much better outfit. Moving on to Carlton and St Kilda at the MCG. Speaking of tough games, the Blues, they were they tried very hard against the Hawks, and Brendan Bolton tagged Sam Mitchell, and he knows them pretty well, so hopefully other teams follow. And the Saints just went down to North. They were pretty poor, and so be an interesting game. Don't know who's going to win.
I'm going to go for the Blues, mate. I'll be interested to see what most people go for, because this is a really interesting game, I think, as far as not really having any relevance of the overall scheme of the season. I think it's interesting, still developing sides. St Kilda are yet to fully win me over anywhere outside of Etihad Stadium. So, and I think the Blues have shown that they play reasonably footy on the tee. I think, and I just feel that the Saints probably, that we know they can play well on Etihad, but really they come back to the pack big time when it's anywhere else. And the Blues have put together, without a win, a pretty good month, really. I think against some decent sides in Sydney, the Hawks they pushed, there was one other, and they pushed West Coast close. I mean, they probably would like to beat West Coast when it's in Victoria, but still they've been matching it without some real top sides, and I think they might get reward for effort against the St Kilda team that is no longer live in the season. So I'm going to tip the Blues by 10 points, mate.
Solid. But I'm going to go with the Saints on this one by 2 points. They got the pies earlier in the season at the G. They managed to just apply that pressure and get plenty of easy goals out the back due to poor defending. Look, I agree with you. I don't think they're that great anywhere outside of Etihad. And the Blues have had a really good month, but I'm just going to go on a gut feel. I think the Saints have a lot more firepower up forward, but I certainly agree in that the Blues have a lot of weapons that can really sort of trouble teams with their pressure and their ball movement from the back line. So, look, I expect it to be a pretty close game, and I'm going to go the Saints, but I certainly wouldn't be surprised if the Blues won. So I'll go the Saints. Moving on to Sunday's game, Geelong and Essendon at Etihad Stadium, home game for us. So the Cats got the job done against the Dogs, who were very brave, by 25 points. The Bombers got absolutely demolished by the Crows. And you won't quite beat this one, matey, with work on.
Yeah, disappointing, mate. Disappointing, but
brings it up.
Do what we got to do. So,
oh, you do. You do.
I think, we should speak about this one in greater detail in the old review, but I'm going to tip the Cats by 81 points, mate. I think we need to win and need to win well, as Wayne Carey would say.
He would, yeah.
I hope we do. There's always that chance that we don't. Sort of rock up with the right mental attitude, but I think some stage throughout the game will really get rolling and surely blow it out beyond the 10-goal mark. But Yeah, what are you thinking, mate? You going to break your theory?
Oh, jeez. I forgot all about that.
Come on, mate. It's a no-brainer.
Yeah, I'll have to on this occasion. If we lose, mate, what are we going to do?
Never break that rule ever again.
Okay, I will. All right, okay. I'm going to go the Cats, guys, by 68 points. That was the margin I said to you and Jeffy Boy not too long ago. Yeah, I feel weird tipping them, but I can't tip the Bombers, and I broke my theory, which could wreck us. We should be too good for the Bombers if we, as you said, if we come in the right mindset and play normal football as if they're a good team. They're not a terrible team, but they're not a great team, so you never quite know what they're going to dish up. And we only won by 5 goals and nearly lost it against them. I was so concerned and so disappointed with the way we played last time, but I think we should be getting it done relatively comfortably.
Definitely.
The Derby is rounding out the last game at Fremantle West Coast at Domain Stadium. Fremantle very, very disappointing last week, losing by 90 points in Pav's 350th. Terrible way to send off a wonderful skipper on a milestone such as that. And West Coast, they were disappointing against the Pies, but Nick Nat's back.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think Sandilands is back for Freo, which is interesting.
He wants to wreck him again.
Yeah, you never know with these games, but I think it's near impossible seeing the Dockers, man, with the way they are at the moment. They're an absolute rabble and really just struggling to even kick a winning score. And I know the Eagles haven't been convincing at certain stages throughout the year, but at home, I think they're always playing good footy in WA, so I expect them to really get going here. And look, I'm going to tip the Eagles by 55 points, mate, unless the Dockers can shut the game down for some way, and that might help them limit the damage. But I couldn't see them controlling the West Coast forward line and even midfield in comparison to what they've got for 4 quarters. So I think the Eagles will, help their cause and get back on the winners list.
Sounds solid, mate. I'm going to go with the Eagles as well. I'll go for them by 35 points. The Dockers, they've really struggled lately, and they're trying, but not much seems to be happening. The Eagles haven't been great either, but in Perth, generally tough to beat. The Dockers are an absolute rabble as well, along with Richmond, two of the worst teams in the competition right about now. I think, Nick Nat back is huge. Sandilands is a big in for the Dockers, but really he doesn't make up for what Nick Nat can do in a team that's performing much better than what the Dockers are at the moment.
Absolutely, mate. Absolutely.
Tips done, mate. It's around 20 tips from Shorty and myself. Feel free to comment your tips in the comments. Don't forget to check out our other tips for previous weeks and the old review if you want to see more of an in-depth chat about the Cats and the Bombers. Don't forget to give the video a like, share it around, subscribe for more. That'd be fantastic. Thanks for tuning in, guys. We'll talk to you all soon.